Qiandama doesn't sell overnight meat. This is truly a phrase that resonates deeply with people. Because of daily clearance, it makes franchising very simple.
If offline retail can make good choices in categories, product combinations, supply chain, and fulfillment, and combine that with an effective sales mechanism, it can also achieve great efficiency. When Qiandama first observed these kinds of stores in China, the main logic was that these business formats actually existed in two places. One was Chinese supermarkets, and the other, even more significant, was the traditional Chinese wet markets. As we delve into the topic of 10,000 store community chains, it all actually originated from our very first project, Qiandama. What do you think is the most unique aspect of Qiandama?
Qiandama doesn't sell overnight meat. This is truly a phrase that has deeply resonated with people. Even the elderly and children can recite it by heart. Indeed, their innovative approach of clearing out all products daily is very ingenious. At that time, it not only solved the problem of people wanting to buy fresh products in the morning and cheaper ones in the evening, effectively segmenting the customer base, but also turned what was traditionally an industry pain point of product loss into a marketing asset. This is truly ingenious. Because of the daily clearance, franchising became very simple. For franchisees, first, management is simple, and second, there aren't as many conflicts of interest like trying to pass off inferior goods as quality ones. The difficulty and risk of supervision are also greatly reduced. And I also think the boss, the founder, had a keen insight into the fresh food market, especially in southern China, where there is a very strong demand for freshness. He really honed in on this point sharply.
Actually, when it comes to fresh food, everyone knew back then that fresh food was a basic necessity and a huge market, but it's hard to do. The core issue, especially when you're dealing with meat and such, is how to scale up. The main problem is spoilage. You might make some money in a day, but if you don't sell everything today, your profits are lost to spoilage. So at that moment, I realized that the founder of Qiandama might have made a really great innovation because she said, by not selling overnight meat, I let everyone buy it at a discount until it's sold out. At this point, ordinary people get a good deal, but more importantly, it helps retailers deal with spoilage. At that time, the biggest inspiration we got from Qiandama was that if offline retail can make good choices in categories, product combinations, supply chain, and fulfillment, and also have an effective sales mechanism, it can achieve great efficiency. I remember at the time we made some comparisons. For example, companies like Miss Fresh or other similar new retail businesses that use front warehouses, when they reach sales of 10 billion, they might need to raise several billion in funding, and sometimes that money is used as subsidies to attract users. So, for Qiandama to achieve 10 billion in sales, the total amount of funding they received was only about 200 to 300 million or 300 to 400 million in cash. So from this perspective, it made us realize that there are actually many highly efficient combinations among offline stores in China, and that a store focused on an extremely specialized single category can have huge opportunities. When we started looking at these kinds of stores in China from the perspective of Qiandama, a major realization was that these business models actually exist in two main places. One is Chinese supermarkets, and the other, which is even bigger, is the traditional wet markets in China. In supermarkets, it's usually a specific category section that's being operated, while in wet markets, it's often many individual stalls. What Chinese chains have done is essentially extract these from the two original business models and turn them into specialized stores. In today's terms, it's about reselecting the entire range of products, combining categories, and then fitting them into a 60 or 80 square meter storefront in the community. After creating this basic store, it's then expanded into a national chain.